Okay, students, this is part 2 of our notes. It's going to be much shorter this time, but you should be on the back of your worksheet, and I just want to review what you just learned. So we're talking about levels of organization, and you probably remember these key terms, but I'm going to go over them anyway. So the cell is the basic unit of any organism. Many cells come together to make a tissue. Excuse me. Many tissues come together to make organs. And organs work together to form an organ system. Organ systems work together to form an organism. Now, it's really important that you understand that each of these have a function. So if you look at the definition, each of them are organized in a certain way, but they are done so that they have a specific function in the body. All right, so what I want you to do next is I would like for you to um, look at this pyramid that's on the back of your paper, and I want you to see if you can fit these 5 keywords into this pyramid. Um, so go ahead and try doing that right now. You okay? And if you did it right, you should have gotten something like this. Now, remember, a pyramid is organized in a way that the bottom forms a foundation for whatever's on top of it. So whatever is on top here would not exist without the layers on the bottom. Um, so you know that cells are the most basic part. So without cells, there will be no tissues. Without tissues, there would be no organs. Without organs, there would be no organ systems. Without organ systems, there would be no organism. The organism is made out of all 4 of these, right? It's not just made out of cells. It's also organized in all these ways. If cells was on top, that means you are saying that cells contain all the rest of these, which is not true. So this is the correct answer. And it says right here, the higher up you go on the pyramid, the more complex it is because it includes everything below it. So for example, tissues are more complex than cells because tissues include cells. Organs are more complicated than tissues because organs contain tissues and cells. Organ systems are more complex than cells because organ systems contain all 3 of them, whereas cells doesn't connect. Um, Cell is the most basic part, right? So so when I say which is more complex, organ system or the cell, organ systems will be more complex than the cell. Okay, last part is you need to know that all of these 5 levels, or the ways that these are organized, they work with each other. They're not separate systems. And they are all interdependent, so they rely on one another to stay alive. So if any one of these parts fails, then the whole system falls apart. So let's say the organism is a human and one of our organ systems fails, then you know that means the other organ systems are going to fail too because they rely on each other. If the tissues dies, the organs dies, and the cells die, and so on and so forth. This is a system where all the parts are working together. Okay, and that concludes our notes. Go ahead and if you have any questions, make sure you write them down so you can ask me later, and go ahead and work on the next steps.